Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Chairperson of the Council of Provinces, Deputy Chairperson of the Council of Provinces, I stand on the protocol that has been established and the protocol I also articulated at the beginning. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to close this NCOP plenary, which has in many ways been robust and constructive and which has focused on the issues that affect and concern the people of the Northwest, and may I add, the country as a whole. For as the chairperson of the NCOP and the deputy chairperson and the Secretary of Parliament and other officials have brought Parliament to the people of Northwest, they have effectively brought Parliament to the whole country, as many of our people will have been following these proceedings. And I'd like to thank everyone who has participated in this plenary and to the many citizens of this area, Matlosane, who came to all the engagements that were held and to be part of this very special occasion. Participating in a process like this is important because taking Parliament to the people is one of the most important ways of deepening democracy, strengthening legitimacy, and rebuilding trust between the citizens of our country and the state. It transforms Parliament from being seen as a distant institution in a capital city or in parliamentary city in Cape Town into a living instrument of public participation and accountability as members of Parliament give themselves time to be amongst the people. At its core, it also gives practical meaning to the constitutional principle that says the people shall govern. This visit has made the NCOP delegates aware of the severe challenges affecting our people here in the municipalities across the province, but it is also across many other provinces, ranging from political instability, financial management, and lack of service delivery. This visit by the NCOP must reinforce the work of national, provincial, and local government through the district development model to fix the problems of our municipalities. And I'd like to thank the premiers as well as the MECs of our various provinces for being here to articulate precisely what they are doing in their various provinces. Many and all indeed have articulated really forward-looking plans, setting out the work that is being done, good work in the most part of what is happening. What I have heard is a most powerful message of hope after this parliamentary outreach visit, and that is about the fact that democracy is listening. The state has not abandoned the people of our country, and the future can still be shaped through collective action, partnership, and accountability. This visit says, it communicates that Parliament did not come here to merely observe the problems that our people are going through, but to help to unlock solutions and to renew the social contract between citizens and the democratic state. We should not be dismissive of the fact that a lady who has not had a house for a long time, or the one who's had a house where sewage was spilling through her house, was immediately fixed. We should not dismiss that. That is intervention. Intervention has been made. What we should hope for and demand is that there should be continuous intervention solving those individual problems and collective problems on an ongoing basis. People facing unemployment, poverty, crime, energy shortages, or failing infrastructure are less interested in political point scoring than in practical solutions. It was sad for me to hear some political point scoring here. When parties spend all their energy blaming one another, humiliating opponents, or weaponizing every mistake, government effectiveness suffers. We must remember this saying that when you live in a glass house, do not throw stones, because when you do throw stones, those stones can also come to your house. And when colleagues continuously say, we are better, we are this and this, and others continuously say, you have to go to a particular area of the same city that is said to be the best. And when you go there, you see the very worst conditions ever. And I have seen that with my own eyes. And now it is said that people who live, for instance, in Cape Town, in Philippi, and other places, their conditions are even much worse than you can find here in the Northwest. That should tell us something. There's a message in that. So in the end, we should rise from here with hope. Hope that this session, this engagement, has given rise to hope. Hope is generally abroad in our country. It is spreading right throughout. Many of the delegates who spoke here, premiers, MECs, and other speakers, spoke about how hope is spreading in the areas where they are. And indeed, there is hope. So we should speak about the hope, because for our people, we should say, the coming of Parliament here means that your voice matters. Your voice is being heard. Also, government still has the capacity to change lives, and communities should be partners in development. Now, South Africa has overcome bigger challenges before, and we intend to continue to do so. We have a big challenge of jobs. The creation of jobs depends on an increase in investment. We need to see more and more investment coming into our country from local firms, from offshore firms, but also we need to create spaces for those who want to do business so that they do business and increase investment from which we will derive growth. Our investment drive is yielding significant results as it is. Over the last 5 years, a total of 634 billion rand of investment has been pledged, and a lot of it has now already been spent on projects. At the 6th South Africa Investment Conference, and let me pause and say, one of the things that many people don't realize and should really, really applaud is that soon as we started holding our own national conference for investment, our provinces, one after the other, started holding their own investment conferences. And at those investment conferences, they have been able to garner a lot of investors investors who have pledged to invest in the provinces as well. So in that regard, I applaud the premiers. I truly applaud our premiers for taking forward the vision that we have had, that there should be localized investment commitments, localized investment going into various projects. I welcome that. And when you agglomerate all those commitments, and when you agglomerate the various projects that are ongoing in our country, we can safely say that South Africa is becoming and is going to lead in becoming a building or a construction site. You see it all over. I go to the Eastern Cape, I see construction. I go to KZN, I see that construction. I go to Gauteng, I see new cities, literally new cities being built, and I see tremendous infrastructure projects. And I go to Northern Cape, I go to many of our provinces, and I see that. It is the result of the work that is being done by our premiers, by our provincial councils, our MECs, and I want to applaud them for all the work that they do. And I will give you a round of applause, even if I'm alone. So at our investment conference, we raised quite a lot of money, but coming to where we are, at the 6th investment conference, companies pledged investments totaling 30 billion into renewable energy and mining in the Northwest. And when you combine it with what the province is raising, as well in investment, it is higher. The 1 trillion that we have allocated to infrastructure over the next 3 years will increase economic activity and create jobs, both directly and indirectly. One of the critical industries for the Northwest is mining, which correctly accounts for about 52% of the GDP of this province. And obviously, the Northwest is the platinum province, is where we get the most of the platinum in our country, although Limpopo also shares as that. Where we have seen a decline in production in other areas, mining still remains a mainstay for us. That is why we have dedicated resources to further exploration for our mineral resources, because Northwest is a mineral-rich province, but the whole of South Africa is mineral-rich. That's why we are dedicating money from the fiscus for exploration so that we can open more mines and add value to the country as well. We're focusing on building the agricultural sector by releasing state land for agriculture and providing more support and funding for emerging black farmers. On water, we are investing significantly in bulk water infrastructure to ensure that there is enough water supply for areas in our country that have serious water challenges. The National Water Crisis Committee is providing support to municipalities to ensure that they are able to maintain their water infrastructure and ensure supply of quality water to all households and businesses in our country. Premier Zamani Saul gave a proper account of how far our country has moved from where we were in 1994 in the most statistical way, to say we have moved forward. And let it be said that we are not stuck in one place. We are continuing to move forward. That's 8% or so of people in our country who do not have electricity. ESCOM is rolling out to all those. Those areas that do not really have water, we are working on that. And we are working to improve the road network and infrastructure in our country. Yes, what has held us back is the focus that we placed on the social welfare of our people. 61% of our budget goes to social welfare. As poverty was rising, as our students needed more support at the universities for free education, as we found that we need to establish early childhood development centers so that the mistake that we made right at the beginning should be corrected, because for education, that's where we should have started. In 1994, early childhood development, formalize it, put it under basic education rather than put it under social development. Now, we are turning that wheel, and we're delegating, or we're committing more money. As we face COVID, we needed to support the livelihoods of our people and had to allocate 54 billion rand just for that. So what that led to is an increase in social welfare, a decline in the more important investments that we should put in place. And we also declined, truth be told, on defense spending, on supporting the police. Now we are correcting all those programs, or those problems. And we are moving forward. We are moving forward in quite a determined way. For a country like ours, for the first time in its history, to commit 1 trillion rand in infrastructure means that we are serious about moving South Africa forward. The reforms that we have embarked upon are also demonstrative of the fact that we are moving forward. We are not stuck in one place. We are undertaking those reforms in water, we're doing so in electricity, and ensuring that we reposition the economy of our country so that it's primed for growth going forward. Those areas that still have load reduction, where there are still challenges for electricity, are areas that ESCOM, together with the Ministry of Electricity and Energy, are working on and ensuring that we rid our country not only what we've done well with load shedding, but also with load reduction. As you well know, we have to build 14,000 kilometers of transmission lines so that as we generate more energy, either through renewables or otherwise, even nuclear, we're able to have the grid that will support all that. That is going to require almost 400 billion. So all those projects are projects that we are working on. We are pushing ahead and restructuring the various areas that drive the economy of our country. On housing, there's been a slowdown in the delivery of houses here in the Northwest and across the country. That is why we are changing the housing delivery model so that it is led by people's needs. We've built almost 4 million houses, and we've slowed down for all the reasons that I set out. But now we need to ramp up and come up with a model. On roads, a significant portion of our infrastructure, and I heard complaints that potholes are replete throughout the country. That is true. And now our SANRAL, which is dedicated to building roads, and also we need to now build our roads at provincial level as well as local level. We're focusing on that because a country that does not have roads will never grow its economy. And that is why they say, if you want to get rich, the Chinese say, if you want to get rich, build a road. And that's what we are now focusing on. On crime and safety, we are putting in place a dedicated strategy to tackle organized crime and to dismantle the criminal networks that are driving much of the crime in our country. And we're focusing also on illegal mining, including here in the Northwest. And Premier Lusufi talks positively about how the SANDF has helped to eliminate mining, illegal mining in Gauteng. Yes, we will bring the SANDF here as well, so that it can come and help. We didn't speak much about education, and education being the bedrock of what we need to do to improve our economy. We must ensure that young people have the skills that they need to find jobs. There's been a mismatch between the skill base of our young people and the jobs that are needed in the economy. So we are solving all that. We are undertaking an overhaul of the skills development system. And this includes strengthening the CETA system and reviewing it, and the National Skills Fund. We are working to ensure that our TVET colleges are more closely aligned with industry and with the provision of workplace experience. Here in Northwest, we should have a university that just focuses on mining. That's what we need, and we will be looking at that as well. Where the economy of the Northwest Province, the GDP is 52%, we need to be generating on an ongoing basis, in a massive way, the skills that we need in those mines, metallurgical skills, engineering skills, environmental skills, and mining skills as well. We are expanding and investing in early childhood development. I've touched on that. We haven't spoken about health. We're going ahead with the preparations for the NHI strengthening so that it can strengthen our health system. And that is a given. It is going to happen. Whether people like it or not, we cannot continue having a health system that is underpinned by apartheid of the past. We must rid our country of all vestiges of apartheid so that our people can have the better life that they were denied. We have also committed to a construction and refurbishment of our hospitals. On governance, the key effective development and service delivery is a government that is clean, capable, and developmental. We have to make changes at the local government level. That is a given, and I'm glad that there's commitment that the white paper process should move ahead and we should finalize it as quickly as possible so that we can reform our local government system. So I leave this community with renewed conviction that the future of our country is not hopeless. We have seen the resilience of our people. We've seen the determination of our young people as well, and the wisdom of our elders, and the courage of communities that continue to strive for a better life, even as we face immense challenges. Parliament, in the end, has not come here merely to listen and depart. We come as representatives of the democratic nation, determined to ensure that the voices of the people must shape the priorities of the state. Now, the road ahead may be a difficult road, and it will be difficult, but the story of our nation has always been one of overcoming adversity through unity, through courage, and through collective effort. Now, if we work together, ha re ka sebetsa mmoho, re tswele pele re sebetse mmoho. Re hlotse apartheid ka ho sebetsa mmoho. Kaofela rona. Le bao ba ne ba le di advocates tsa apartheid. Kajeko lena ke bona ba re jwetsang hore le rona we were anti-apartheid. We accept that, but we work together to bring apartheid to an end. We must now forge ahead, working together as government, business, labor, civil society, and our traditional leaders and communities. There is no challenge that is beyond our capacity to solve. What has happened here through coming as the NCOP has also given me a lot of courage that the national dialogue process, which is going to go ahead in earnest, is also going to be well received, and our people will engage in that process with a great deal of enthusiasm, and our people will come forward and articulate their views, their fears, and their hopes. Hope is not the denial of our challenges. Hope is the belief that together we possess the strength, the wisdom, and the determination to overcome those challenges. The future of our country is still ours to build. It is not a future that will be built by the politicians in Cape Town, by the executive in the union buildings. It is a future that belongs to all of us, and that is why we say we must work together. When our forebears ended drafting the Freedom Charter, they said, these dreams and aspirations we shall work for side by side until we have won our total freedom. That is what we should be saying. For these challenges, we will work to eliminate them, to solve them, until we have won that hope of the South Africa of our dreams. So thank you very much. It's been a most fruitful day being here. Ke a leboha.
Thank you, honorable members. You may take your seats. Order, honorable members. Please, let's take our seats. Honorable members, this marks the end of our visit in the province of Bokone, Bophirima. As the President has already stated in his opening remarks, we will be taking the issues from the people here back to Parliament, to the provincial legislature, as well as to the Council of Matlosana. Us as NCOP, we will be at the center of coordinating the responses. We will come back to report to the people as part of ensuring that the matters they raise are attended to and ensuring government accountability. We want to thank many people who contributed to the success of this program. The staff who began conducting research and visiting the area to collaborate in work with local officials, the MPs who undertook oversight visits in various areas in preparation for this important gathering. The people who guided us on the issues they wanted tabled and considered. Our civil society groups, the service providers without whom this visit would not have been possible. I thank in particular the permanent as well as the special delegates to the NCOP, the members of the Northwest Provincial Legislature, the President of SALGA, and the leadership and administration of the City of Matlosana local municipality under the stewardship of our executive mayor and the speaker, as well as our district executive mayor, and everybody who participated in the activities during this week. And above all, the community of Matlosana for their constructive participation and contribution in their program. And finally, with utmost humility, I would like to thank the President, our premiers, as well as the emissaries for joining us here today and outlining the imperatives of this program and what government is doing. Having said that, honorable members, that brings us to the end of our business today. May I once more request you to remain seated whilst the procession leaves the chamber. The House is adjourned. Thank you.